So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you all to the 2024 Annual General Meeting of Amati AIM VCT plc. I'm Fiona Woolacombe and I'm the chairman of this meeting. It's now just gone 2 o'clock, and as we have a quorum present, I declare the meeting formally open. Just before we get going on that, most of you will have seen the running order for today. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of things on that, because there'll be plenty of opportunity for questions, meeting the board, talking to the manager, as well as the formal business of the day. So we have the AGM first, then we'll have a short break, and we'll commence the full portfolio update with Paul Jordan and David Stevenson at 2:30, followed by questions and answers. And then we move on to the Amati Global Investors Investor Day. So the formal business of the VCT sort of concludes then, and then we move on to the Investor Day with AGI, where we've got presentations and more chance to talk about what's going on. So thanks for being here. I'd like to introduce you first to the board. I've got Brian Schooler here next to me, Chairman of the Audit Committee, and Julia Henderson. And we've got Paul Jordan here, who I think all of you know, and David Stevenson at the back there, who will be presenting later in the day. The requisite notice convening the meeting, as set out on pages 80 to 84 of the annual report and accounts for the year ended 31 January 2024, has been given, and so may I take that as read? Thank you. May I also take the auditor's report as read? Thank you. Before we start the formal business of the meeting, I just wanted to briefly touch on the strategic review, which is actually ongoing and has been formally announced since March. We've actually been talking about it for some time due to all sorts of issues with AIM markets and performance and are we doing the right things. We did announce in March that we've been considering all the strategic options in light of the ongoing challenges in the AIM market and the impact it has had on the company's performance. And that is still ongoing. We're in a very sort of woolly time at the moment still with, at least an election's been called, so there may be some clarity, over the coming months as to whichever government gets in, as to whether there'll be assistance offered, for AIM market. We never know, we might set light to it. But as a result of that is still ongoing, and we're very happy to chat to you informally today during the meeting or after the meeting about thoughts on that. As shareholders will have seen from the second RNS we sent out recently, as part of the review work undertaken to date, we considered what action we could take at the current time to benefit shareholders in the near term, and following a review of our very high cash levels and the very limited new investment opportunities that there have been on AIM, along with ongoing realisations from the portfolio, we decided it was appropriate to return excess cash to shareholders, and we declared a special dividend of 10p per share, which represented a yield of 10.9% on the company's NAV of the 30th of April. And that should have been paid on Monday, the 10th of June, so you should have received that, hopefully, by now. Happy to, as I say, to take any burning questions now. If not, very happy to speak later on to investors as we go on. Okay, thank you. I'll now proceed to the formal part of the meeting. Just to remind you of our favourite voting procedures. Voting today will be conducted by a way of a show of hands. Please note, as the chairman of the meeting, that I have been appointed as proxy to vote for shareholders who are not present, whether on my own discretion or, if directed, either for each resolution or in a few cases against the resolution. I'm required to vote as directed, both for and against some resolutions, in order to ensure that all shareholders' votes are appropriately represented. May I remind you that shareholders who are present here in person or by corporate representative are entitled to one vote on a show of hands. A proxy who is present and has been duly appointed by a shareholder is entitled to vote, also has one vote on a show of hands. The results of the voting, including the proxy votes on each of the resolutions, will be announced to a regulatory information service and published on our website as soon as reasonably practicable after the meeting. Before we move on to the formal resolutions themselves, I'd like to invite any questions from the room on matters relevant to the formal business of the meeting. As I've said earlier, we'll have a full presentation and chance to chat to the manager and ask questions later. But if you have any questions on the actual business of the meeting, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. So we'll go through the resolutions. Resolutions 1 to 10 are proposed as ordinary resolutions, requiring a majority of votes cast to pass as resolutions. Resolution 11 to 13 will be proposed as a special resolution, requiring more than 75% of votes cast in favour. So we'll move on to Resolution 1, which I now propose, to receive and adopt the Directors' Report and financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31 January 2024, together with the independent auditor's report thereon. Would those shareholders please raise their hands to vote? Those in favour? Thank you. Those against? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried as an ordinary resolution of the company. Resolution 2, which I propose, is to approve the Directors' Remuneration Policy. Would those shareholders please raise their hands to vote? Those in favour? Those against? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried as an ordinary resolution of the company. Resolution 3, I now propose to receive and approve the Directors' Annual Report on Remuneration for the financial year ended 31 January 2024. Would shareholders please raise their hands to vote? Those in favour? Those against? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried as an ordinary resolution of the company. I now propose Resolution 4 to approve the company's dividend policy that the board aims to pay annual dividends of around 5% of the company's net asset value at its immediately preceding financial year end, subject to distributable reserves and cash resources, and with the authority to increase or decrease this level at the director's discretion. Would shareholders please raise their hands to vote? Those in favour? Thank you. Those against? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried as an ordinary resolution of the company. Moving to Resolution 5, which I now propose, is to reappoint BDO LLP as auditors of the company from the conclusion of the meeting until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting of the company to be held in 2025. Would shareholders please raise their hands to vote? Those in favour? Thank you. Those against? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried as an ordinary resolution of the company. I now propose Resolution 6 to authorise the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditor. Would shareholders please vote to raise their hands to vote? Those in favour? Thank you. Those against? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried as an ordinary resolution of the company. Resolution 7 relates to my own re-election, and so I will pass the chair to Brian to put this resolution to the meeting.
Thank you, Fiona. I now propose Resolution 7 to re-elect Fiona Woolacombe as a director of the company. Would shareholders please raise their hands to vote? Those in favour? Those against? I declare the resolution carried as an ordinary resolution of the company. I will now pass the chair back to Fiona.
Thank you. I now propose Resolution 8 to re-elect Julia Henderson as a director of the company. Would those shareholders please raise their hands to vote? Those in favour? Those against? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried as an ordinary resolution of the company. Resolution 9 I now propose is to re-elect Brian Schooler as a director of the company. Would those shareholders please raise their hands to vote? Those in favour? Those against? I declare the resolution carried as an ordinary resolution of the company. I now propose Resolution 10, which relates to the authority to allot shares. Before the directors are able to allot shares, they must first be authorised by shareholders to do so. I propose that the directors be authorised to allot shares in accordance with the resolution as set out in the notice of the meeting. Would shareholders please raise their hands to vote? Those in favour? Those against? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried as an ordinary resolution of the company. Resolution 11, I now propose as a special resolution to authorise the directors to allot equity securities for cash pursuant to the authority conferred on the directors by Resolution 10, and to sell ordinary shares from Treasury for cash up to an aggregate nominal amount of 1,944,000, pursuant to one or more offers for the subscription of the company, and of 300,000 pursuant to the dividend reinvestment scheme operated by the company, as if Section 561 of the Companies Act 2006 did not apply. Would shareholders please raise their hands to vote? Those in favour? Those against? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried as a special resolution of the company. Resolution 12, which I now propose as a special resolution, to authorise the company to purchase its own ordinary shares on such terms and in such manner as the directors may from time to time determine. The authority sought limits on the maximum number of ordinary shares purchased to 14.99% of the number of shares in issue immediately following the passing of this resolution. Would shareholders please raise their hands to vote? Those in favour and those against? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried as a special resolution of the company. I now propose as a special resolution, Resolution 13, that a general meeting other than an AGM may be called on not less than 14 clear days' notice, provided that this authority shall expire at the conclusion of the next AGM of the company. Would those shareholders please raise their hands to vote? Those in favour and those against? Thank you. I declare the resolution carried as a special resolution of the company. That concludes the formal business of this meeting. The results, as I said, of the meeting will be announced to the market and posted on our website as soon as possible. Thank you for all attending the meeting. I declare the formal part of the meeting closed. And as I said at the beginning, we're going to have a short break before we get a full presentation from Paul and David Stevenson, with an opportunity to ask questions about the ongoing portfolio. Thank you.